We've been testing the new M3, M3 Pro, and M3 Max MacBook Pros tirelessly for the past couple of weeks, and if there's one thing we've learned, the M3 Ultra Mac Studio is gonna be absolutely insane, because the M3 Max has been outperforming my own expectations, which were already very high. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about three things: my personal thoughts on how good the M3 Max is and what surprised me, especially after we just did the massive M1 Max versus M2 Max versus M3 Max performance comparison video, as well as the thermal throttling video with the 14-inch, where we showed you the massive difference in cooling systems. So definitely watch those two videos if you haven't already after this one is over, but the second part of this video is gonna be about the leaks, rumors, and my predictions on what exactly the M3 Ultra chip will look like in terms of the specs and performance, including two potential routes Apple could take with the chip. And the third thing is gonna be my analysis and predictions for the release date and of course the price. Now before we get into the new leaks, let me first start with my thoughts on the M3 Max MacBook Pros. Holy moly guys, if you haven't seen those testing videos, definitely watch them because the full 16-core M3 Max is extremely impressive. We got a big jump in terms of the single core performance, about 17.5% higher than M2 Max, about 49% faster in multi-core, which is just insane. Another huge jump in gaming performance. Xcode programming performance is absolutely insane, only 79 seconds. Logic Pro running 328 tracks. Cinebench got a huge jump. Photo editing took only 30 seconds, and especially ray tracing and Blender 3D rendering over twice as fast as the M2 Max. But one thing we clearly know is that Apple put everything they had into this M3 Max chip. They simply went all out with those 12 performance cores running at high clock speeds. So what this says to me is that we can expect the M3 Ultra to be an absolute beast going into the Mac Studio and Mac Pro, because if this thin MacBook Pro laptop handled all of that heat, the Mac Studio should be just fine. When we tested the M2 Ultra Mac Studio, we couldn't even get the fans to spin up because the copper cooling system was just so efficient, and the M2 Ultra still wasn't powerful enough to give off enough heat. So this is incredibly reassuring for the M3 Ultra chip. So with that said, what should we expect out of the M3 Ultra specs and performance? Well, getting into part number 2, let's start off with some thoughts from Mark Gurman's most recent Power On newsletter, where he discussed the M3 Ultra. But first, I've got to show you the best gift for your loved ones this holiday season, the Ridge Wallet. It's the thinnest wallet I could find that can hold all of my cards, up to 12, plus room for cash, with over 30 plus durable colors and styles, all with RFID blocking materials and a lifetime guarantee. You can even get 30% off your order if you buy a matching key case, which holds up to 6 keys to keep them from jingling. So shop the holiday sale by going to ridge.com/maxtech and get up to 30% off through December 20th, and use my link so you can enter free for a chance to win a Ridge bundle worth $4,000. Thanks Ridge for sponsoring the channel. He believes that the M3 Ultra could have a whopping 80 GPU cores, 32 CPU cores, and 256 gigs of unified memory, which assumes that Apple will continue to combine 2 Max chip dies into one using their Ultra Fusion technology, so it's basically double everything that we had with the M3 Max. Now the only problem is that this year, Apple for some reason made a brand new design for the M3 Pro chip instead of it being a cut down version of the M3 Max die. This could potentially mean that Apple might not actually double the M3 Max dies for the Ultra and maybe create a brand new unique design instead, but I don't believe that's gonna happen because the entire point of combining 2 smaller chips is to save money on the silicon compared to making megalithic dies, which are very inefficient and cost more money to manufacture. And second, if we analyze the M3 Max die, we'll notice how it continues to be designed in a way that'll be a perfect setup for combining 2 of the chips together. For example, the new M3 Pro die has the GPU cores tucked above at the top of the chip, surrounded by LPDDR5 channels, with Thunderbolt channels on the bottom, so it'll be impossible to combine two of them to create a larger chip. But looking at the M3 Max, the LPDDR5 channels are on the sides just like they were before, and the SLC cache leads all the way down to the bottom, getting cut off, along with all of the GPU cores being at the bottom, with all of the channels of Thunderbolt and everything else at the top. This means that Apple can easily connect another M3 Max die at the bottom to create the M3 Ultra, and all of the GPU blocks will be centralized close to each other, which is great for having GPU scaling. And yes, this means we'll have 32 CPU cores, 80 GPU cores, and 256 gigs of potential memory, making it essentially the most powerful consumer chip ever made. How powerful? Well, I'm personally expecting at least 30,000 multi-core points in Geekbench 6, dramatically outperforming the highest possible Intel and Ryzen chip scores of 23,000 points, and that's using the craziest RAM out there. And as for the GPU performance, if we use the new Cinebench 2024 GPU test, I'm predicting a score of around 24,000 points, which will be higher than an RTX 3090 Ti and RTX 4070 Ti in raw graphics performance. And the important thing to understand is that those other NVIDIA GPUs are massive dedicated GPUs that are bigger than the Mac Studio itself in terms of overall volume, and the M3 Ultra is gonna be this little chip inside of the Mac Studio running at only up to 66 watts of GPU power, which we know because the M3 Max GPU peaked at 33 watts in the test that we ran. And now let's finish off with the third part of the video, which is the release date and the price. A lot of people are expecting the M3 Ultra to come out this spring during Apple's usual spring event, but I honestly don't think that's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna get delayed until WWDC in June for two big reasons. One, the MacBook Air still hasn't gotten updated to the M3 chip, even though all of the MacBook Pros have. So in my opinion, this absolutely must happen in the spring of next year, which means that it makes sense to give the Airs and the new M3 MacBook Pros more breathing room to sell more stock for longer. And for reason number two, we also have the Apple Vision Pro headset, which is likely coming in the spring of next year. So once again, they need more time for more attention and headlines from the media, so it makes sense to delay the M3 Ultra until WWDC in June. And as for the price, I'm personally expecting the M3 Ultra Max Studio to stick to the same $4,000 base price as we have right now. However, I believe that the base model will be double binned, which means that both of the M3 Max dies inside of it will be the 14-core CPU and 38-core GPU versions. So the base M3 Ultra will likely only come with a 28-core CPU and 76-core GPU. But with that said, the M3 Ultra Max Studio is likely coming next summer, in my opinion, with a $4,000 starting price. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe above for more videos like this one and check out one of those two right there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.